I'd like to call this meeting of the Festus City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Underwood, Councilwoman Templeton,
Here.
Councilman Weiner,
Here.
Councilman Dennis, Councilman Benz,
Here.
Councilman Cook,
Here.
Councilman Tenen.
We do have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could have timed that any better.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight's bills are $434,188.05. So moved. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Correspondence. A roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Underwood,
That's right.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Aye.
Yep. This is for the warrants and the bills and the. Councilman Benz,
Like, yes?
Councilman Cook.
Is this aye or yes? No,
Yeah.
yes. Aye.
Not sure what to say now.
No, I know. I'm all screwed up.
Okay, we're good.
Motion carries.
You forgot me.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Correspondence.
We have a letter from the VFW. It's actually an invite. It's in your packet. I believe, let me find it here. The VFW Post 3777 cordially invites all members of the police department and fire department to a luncheon following the post Veterans Day ceremony on Thursday, November 11th. The ceremony will begin at 11 a.m. at the post and is open to the public. Lunch will be served at approximately 11:45 in the downstairs. Purpose of this invitation is to encourage and honor our first responders. We hope many will be able to attend. Sincerely, Terry Wagner, Post Commander.
Thank you. Remarks of visitors.
We did receive a request to speak from Mark Bishop, who wished to speak on the flock cameras. Mr. Bishop sent an email to me here about 2 hours ago and said he had a conflict and would not be able to attend the meeting this evening. So other than that, we have no other requests to speak.
Thank you. Bids,
We have none.
ordinances and resolutions. Tonight we have Bill 4650. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4650, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the Chief of Police to enter into and execute a government agency agreement with Flock Group Incorporated, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, this is what you approved in the budget. We came before last time. What it basically is we're looking to put 6 cameras at 6 major intersections in town to try and monitor if we have any criminal activity in our neighborhoods, that we can see what traffic flows come in and out of there. I've already heard that people think this is an attempt by Big Brother to look at everything. Rest assured, I don't have enough time to watch every car coming through every intersection. It just doesn't work that way. What it's based on is a central repository that has only access, is only available to law enforcement agencies we agree to let look at our central database. 6 cameras will be put up. So if we get hit like we did in Bailey Station this weekend, we had a car stolen, a police car from another agency, or an officer from another agency, his car got broken into, his police equipment was stolen, and an Ameren truck got hit. We got a pretty good idea on Ring doorbells who we're looking for, but nothing to give us a good look at the license plates. Where we've decided to put these cameras, hopefully we'll be able to cover 75 to 80% of the traffic that actually comes into Festus. And what we're going to do with that information is we get a call, the Bailey Station got hit again, where we want to put one of the cameras is on Sunshine Drive, is to be able to pull up Sunshine Drive and see what cars went by during that time frame, just to give us leads to go look for people. That's basically what it is in a nutshell.
Hey, Chief, I met with you and you explained to me, I just want to make sure, because I had reservations and you cleared them up. It's a hot list that the plates get ran for
Yes.
stolen cars. They don't have access to MoDOT's DMV, correct?
Nope.
Okay. And also just FYI, I saw where Eureka used the cameras to solve a crime and it
Yep.
worked perfect. I spoke to one of the detectives and they
Mike Wiegand's the chief, and he's one of the first to inform me on it. And she actually approached us last year around the 6th of October. And I said, Lisa, you're just about a week too late. So we've sat on this for a year, which kind of is good because I'm real leery about buying anything that's first generation. I'm big on second generation to work out first generation problems. But what it is, again, it's just a central repository where all the traffic flow goes into. And if we pull up, October 31st at 10 a.m., we had a crime in Bailey Station, that we can look at the cameras, 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after, and try to figure out what traffic went in there and if we can develop a lead off of that.
Does this give HOAs the ability?
Yes, HOAs can do this. This is what one of the biggest, they like public to do this, but their big push is for HOAs, subdivisions, because you get in some of the areas of Western Jefferson County where you got some subdivisions out there that are bigger than Festus.
Mike, this is
They
where
push
those
that.
actually started back in 2017. The cameras were kind of came from their impetus, if you want to say, the nexus of the beginning of them came from a homeowners association that was dealing with a lot of, drive-through smash and grab type stuff. So that's where really this technology first started and came from, was from a homeowners association trying to deal with some of the very same stuff that we're dealing with now, where people are driving through neighborhoods and checking, unlocked cars and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had deep reservations about it till I met with Chief, and then I just happened to read an article in the Leader, and then I was in Eureka for work and talking to one of the detectives, and they explained it and
They've got
cleared it up for me.
109.
It's progressive policing. It's another tool in the toolbox, and you're a law-abiding citizen. You have nothing to worry about. This is not infringing on anything unless you're on the other side of the law. So I'm a big fan of it. So
Chief, are these mobile or are they stuck?
No, these are permanent. They go on poles. They can be moved, but there's a small fee. And we've already met with them. And we actually met with Crystal City earlier too.
And they'll be installing them.
Mhm. And we met with Crystal City and coordinated. They want to know where we were thinking about putting ours, because they're going to cover North 67 and South 67, the city limits. We're going to focus on A Highway, Collins Mill, Pounds Road, Scenic, Horine Road, and Sunshine.
Yeah, I know these are solar powered. How's the snow going to affect them in the wintertime?
Hopefully, we didn't get too much into the specifics, but if it takes, just going out there and blowing the snow off. we'll do it.
Dave, the nice part about these is they come with, obviously, the lease agreement comes with flock, it's still flock property. So they're responsible for the maintenance, the upkeep. So we don't take ownership.
Just
We're
leasing
leasing them. So they're going to take care of them. If we have problems, if they have data outages, if they have a failure of some sort, if a battery fails, they're going to come and fix them.
And if we decide later,
No, they work off of battery, solar, and cellular technology. So they are standalone. They're not hardwired at all.
I think it's $250 if we ever decide to move one.
And you can add to this.
Oh, yeah. It's not the first time I want to be up in front of the council talking about flock cameras. I assure you.
So how many are you looking at?
6.
6 of them?
We budgeted, that's what we got. Of course, I'd like to have more, but I understand we got a budget, and 6 is what we want to start with, because it gives us a chance to work out the bugs. We realize that,
I was just about to say that, get the bug
like
worked out.
Horine Road, we're thinking there's gonna be a lot of traffic, and we make it back when we get all the studies, there's only 40 cars a day coming in on Horine Road. There might be 500 coming in over 6th Street.
Right.
We may think, okay, we're gonna move over here.
So Chief, I know like with the red light cameras, there were civil liberty
Mhm.
issues with that. Is there anything as far as
No.
that with these cameras?
No, when you look at the red light cameras, the civil liberties issue came up with enforcement activity and how the enforcement activity was being paid. There was always some issues with the more tickets you wrote, the more money you got, that was bad. And sometimes if it was your car registered to you and Mr. Dennis was driving it and you got the ticket, then to keep you from getting the ticket, you had to tell who was driving. Well,
Sure.
you have a lesser expectation of privacy when you're out in public. And this has there's absolutely no enforcement action on this whatsoever. Unless we get a description of a silver Dodge Omni is driving through a subdivision, knocking windows out, and we see a silver Dodge Omni at that time has a license plate, then we'll take action.
Very good. So nice and clean, no controversy.
Well, I can't guarantee there's no controversy.
Well,
because
no.
Some people think it's Big
Yeah,
Brother.
not as far as,
Right, but as
Yeah.
far as any legalities, I haven't thought any of you heard any on these?
Nothing of this, of the nature you described, Councilman.
okay. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Flock has it all. We'll have a link. And what'll happen is we'll get a request from Jefferson County or Eureka that says, hey, can we look at your system? And so it's like we do on our mule system. We get our ITI system or OmniGo. We get requests and we let them look. It's all read only. It's just a central repository that's limited to law enforcement. And trust me, I don't have enough officers to watch every car going through an intersection all day long. No, that's not going to happen.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4650 for the second time in title only. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you
Thank you.
please read Bill 4650 for the second time?
Bill number 4650, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the Chief of Police to enter into and execute a government agency agreement with Flock Group Incorporated, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Bill 4650 has passed. We have ordinance 4651 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4651, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, accepting the infrastructure of 1843 through 1865 Gamble Cemetery Road and establishing an effective date.
Staff report, please.
This is a section of sewer line and two structures, two manholes Mr. Berger installed on Gamble Cemetery. It's normal procedure for us to adopt that at some point. Bill Seek purchased the lot to the south and has installed a second sewer addition to that main, and they're in the process of building a home on there that's going to tie into that. Once we get two units on a line, DNR regulates, we adopt it, it becomes public sewer at that point. The city inspected all the way through and it's ready to go. It's kind of procedural.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4651 for the second time in title only.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4651 for the second time?
Bill number 4651, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, accepting the infrastructure of 1843 through 1865 Gamble Cemetery Road and establishing an effective date. Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Bill 4651 has passed.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. New business.
On the agenda is just discussion and hopefully consent from council for the month of December to have just the one meeting on the 13th. Obviously, with the holidays, the end of the month gets messed up pretty good there. Our schedule, because the holidays fall on a Saturday, we would be pushed back a day. So offices would be closed the 23rd and 24th and the 30th and 31st because the holiday, the 25th and the 1st fall on a Saturday. Next year, obviously, will be a little different because we'll fall on a Sunday. So we'll split the weekend. But this time around, we'll be out those that Thursday, Friday and Thursday, Friday. So the 27th would be a little tricky, but I think we can get through the month of December with just the one meeting without too much difficulty if council is okay with that. And a motion and a consent to that would be
Make
great.
motion.
The 13th.
I'll second Dennis's motion.
Motion's been made and seconded that we move
Or just have the one.
we
meeting.
have the one meeting in December on December 13th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Mayor and council compensation.
Councilman Booyer came to me last week and asked if we could put this on the agenda to take a look at. It's been 5 years since this has been looked at. What you have there is the ordinance from 2016, which set the monthly salary for the mayor, city council, and city treasurer. And then what I put there for reference, this is the 2019 numbers from the Missouri Municipal League. Based on annual budget, the cities that are listed here have budgets that range between 20 million and 40 million annually. We're right in the middle there at 29 million. But I also put Arnold for reference, although their budget is $235 million. So I don't know how much of a reference that is. But wanted to just, I know Dave came in and asked if for us to take a look at this. So I wanted to be able to at least open the discussion. I had a chance to talk to Brian Wayner, Councilman Wayner, about this today as well. So really just a discussion if we want to have it at all, but a chance for you guys to talk about it. Anything, of course, as far as this being done, if it's acted on at all, as some of you may know, but for all of you to know, if it's changed by ordinance, it only affects those who are elected or reelected on the election cycle. So if there was a new ordinance and a new rate of pay established, it would only affect those who would be elected or reelected at the next election. Those who are not elected or reelected, who are still in the middle of their term, would have to wait until the next cycle. So you have to go through a full election cycle for any change that would be made to take effect. So just kind of throwing it out there for you guys to talk about. I know David asked about it, so I'll throw it to you, sir. And your mic's off.
We, as councilmen, when we get calls, it could be at supper time, it could be any time, and you try to take time to talk to these folks. And then if it's going to be lengthy, then you tell them that you'd like to get back with them. But we use our gas, we use our automobiles to go check out all of this stuff. And I just feel like at this time that it would be nice to take our pay from 300 to say 500, as well as up the mayor's. And that's something I've talked to a few of the council people about it. And that's why I brought it to your attention, so we can discuss it.
Anybody want to comment?
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, looking at these other cities, I mean, there's quite a bit of difference from different cities, the one that Greg gave us to look at. And just going only to 500 and maybe the mayor 1,000 and the treasurer, whatever we agree on, it's still going to be well below the majority of the cities. And so I don't think it's too far out of line, just asking for a small amount. And like I said, just looking at Festus has grown, we know that. And we still would be one of the, if not the cheapest one still out there on according to this list.
Except for Warrensburg.
Oh, yeah, sorry. $1.
Hey,
Anything else, Bobby?
No, I think it's in with reason what Dave's asking and same for all of us.
Councilman Cook?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I understand and I support the idea, but here's where it bothers me. Our starting pay for some of our positions just isn't real competitive. I look at the paper and I see dispatchers making, and Peevely and Crystal, jump in, chief, please. We're making $1.50 more an hour. I don't know. If our starting pay was better in some positions, I would be 100% for it, but I'm 50-50 on it. And truthfully, I'm leaning toward a no vote myself. I just don't think it's the right time until I'm more comfortable with our starting pay for all of our employees to be looked at and adjusted. We got a market survey coming up, or study, excuse me. Wouldn't that be a good time maybe to discuss it maybe then?
I know the plan is obviously we'll be at the end of our 3-year cycle after we did the compensation review. So we would be looking at a shift on our scales. So that would be prior to next year's budget. And we can certainly make this part of that discussion as well. If that's one part that we didn't look at, when we did the compensation consultant, brought in Austin Peters Group, we didn't look at elected officials. That wasn't, part of it. We were looking at just, full-time employees for the city. So there's no reason why we couldn't necessarily incorporate that as part of a consideration. Granted, it works a little differently. Some cities approach that. You can look here and you can see, obviously, Creve Coeur and Maryland Heights, Maryville, places like that. Those positions are paid full-time positions, so they fit into that kind of discussion a little better than you have where here you're paid just basically a per diem, a flat rate per month per se. So it just depends on how we can fit it in there. There's no reason to say we can't.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the fence. That's all.
So maybe a couple different options, adding a little bit to each one, but I certainly think the treasurer is super low. And maybe it would help people be more interested in being giving up their time as a city councilman, councilperson. That's the whole thing. Nobody does it for the money, but when it starts becoming a part-time, full-time job. So, I'd like to see it all wrote up, some kind of sample, with the numbers, we're kind of, plus we just did a budget too. So, but it wouldn't affect, like you said, but like I said, I'm just a little bit out there right now. I don't know what to think yet. So I don't think it's totally unreasonable. So, but maybe just a couple different options, you know what I'm saying? Possibly, maybe adding 100 to each one of the positions and just a few different options. I'm not against it. I just, want to think about it a little bit more, but I like I said, like Dave said, it is a thankless job, constantly going looking at something or, he's kind of like me and we make a point of going there and looking at it because, you never get a full good idea of what it is. So just, that's my thought on it. So.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Weiner?
Yes, sir. So, 5 years ago, is that when we did our pay raise to 300, and it was 100 before. So, 100 to 300 was significant. And frankly, you know, the $300 for the being part of the decision-making process, I mean, it isn't very much, but I think this job is kind of like a lot of other jobs here, be it in the police or the fire or teachers or, you know, it's not, you don't do it for the pay. And like, I don't do this for the pay. You know, I do it because I'm passionate about the city and making hopefully this a better place to live, work, and play, raise a family. If I would think if anybody, I'm happy where I am at 300. It's, I mean, it could be 500, it could be 1,000. It's, you know, there's a lot of responsibility with this job. So I don't know that it doesn't matter to me. I'll put it that way, if I get paid more or not. I think the mayor, I mean, on the other hand, is, you know, somebody that bears a brunt of decision-making process, is the one who's out there in front of the public. And so I would think that if anyone would deserve, you know, in addition to the treasurer, but I think that we've done a really, really, really good job here with our compensation for the employees. I mean, we did a study, and what used to be the good old boy method of paying, you know, is now it's not because you're a woman or because you knew somebody, you weren't get paid enough, you were getting paid more. I mean, things are done because of what you are, not who you are, I guess you could say. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Thank you, sir. Yes, go ahead.
if you take 500 a month by 12, that's 6,000 a year times 8 of us, that's 48,000 a year, not counting the mayor or the treasurer. What's starting pay for a new public works employee? So you're talking 34,000 a year, 35? That's where I'm stuck at. We're taking an employee out of the equation. We're taking a possible employee out of that could be used for dispatching or for public works. That's where I'm stuck at. I like your idea. Don't get me wrong. I really do. But I don't know. That's where I'm stuck at. Thank you, sir.
I'm looking at the responsibility factor. The fact that we go look at stuff, use your vehicle, your gas. Part of the job, right? It is part of the job. Three ways should be substantiated.
Gentlemen, your mics, just remind you, your mics.
Well, there's no bad ideas. That's what we're doing here.
No, there's not much.
So you know what I'm saying? It's in its infancy. Let's let them have time to chew on it a little bit, and then we'll get back and we'll look at different options. We'll go from there. That's my thought. So
Councilman Templeton, or Councilwoman Templeton? Sorry.
I think I'm on the same page that Kevin is, and Brian for that matter. Let's just maybe table it, come up with another idea or additional idea, or just some time to kind of let it marinate and see. We'll get back and revisit it.
Okay, Councilman Underwood?
I agree with the two fellows over on the other side of the table, what we're going to do. And I agree with them. That's the way it is.
What about it? Well, I guess we'll let it marinate. We'll figure out something. If you want my opinion, I see a couple people that do. We volunteer for these positions by signing up to run to be elected. And I don't know, I don't think you ever look at the pay to see what it is. I've been on the board of directors of the Joachim Platten Ambulance District for 19 years, and our salary is $0. And it has been since the beginning, and we never have made any steps to raise it. it's a decision that you all will have to talk about. But in my opinion is, I don't think we need to raise them. But, let it marinate. We'll get back to it. But that's my opinion. Is there anybody else want to say anything?
I do have one small addition.
Yes.
If there were to be any, from my point of view, if there were to be any changing of that number, it could be based like on a COLA. So just cost of living. So like if it was 4% last year or 3%, whatever it may be, you'd still have the same spending power for that. But
Well, I think if we did it every year on the cost of living, Stephanie Margaret would be doing a lot of figuring out to see what it
Sure.
is. But
I mean,
and I'm not, it's done 5 years ago, so maybe it is time to look at it. Okay. But as I say, my opinion is I don't think we need it. So let's let it marinate, think about it. We'll get it back on the agenda, probably, if not December, be in January, and we'll figure out what we can do. Any old business?
No, sir.
Mayor and City Council reports. Councilman Boyer.
Have nothing at this time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Weiner.
went downtown 2 nights ago. I guess it was Saturday night when they had the ladies' night out, and had a really nice showing downtown. There were a lot of ladies down there. There was a lot of bags being held. There was a lot of purchases being made, and the organizers need to be congratulated for that. I had a message from a fellow citizen who congratulated us on our, I guess that's the old Colonial Cleaners over there, the country lot, and that was completely full, and they were happy to see that. So, yeah. So, and good thing seeing the healthy things come up with the annual employee wellness that you reported on, Greg, with 50 participants in it. Things continued to go well, and that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Dennis.
I was looking over some of Greg's notes on the use tax. So I was thinking quite a bit about that. So if those funds were approved by the voters, where would that money be earmarked, or how would that work?
Up to you.
Up
Up to you, really. We can do it several different ways. Use tax essentially boiled down at its essence is a retail sales tax charged at the same rate as you would in a regular Walmart purchase, whatever you want to call it, brick and mortar purchase. So in our case, 3% would be on an online purchase and would go to those respective funds. So the 1% general, the 1% to public safety, the park stormwater tax, the transportation tax, the capital improvement tax. So if we designate a portion of that to something that we decide that we want to put funding towards, which I think was part of the reason why we did the satisfaction survey, was to try to take the temperature of the citizens and determine if there was an area where they perhaps see a need, whether it was, as we saw in the survey, water quality, stormwater, sewer, recreation facilities, things of that sort. If we wanted to, we could say we're going to dedicate a portion or all of that newly created funding source, or a portion of that, say a percentage or a set amount, a fixed amount, as a capital campaign that would go into a capital account, and then any amount above that would then go to those respective funds, just as it would if it was just a regular sales tax. So as we saw, as I mentioned in my report, Cape Girardeau Farmington just passed in the November election, they passed the online sales tax, the use tax, and basically pitched it to the voters that, look, retail sales have changed. The way we buy has changed. And buyers need to understand that. And if you're going to continue to want the level of service that you're getting now,
Right.
you're going to need to acknowledge that and also help us out here. Other cities have approached it have approached it differently though. And I've used Independence, Missouri as a very good example. Zach Walker is the city administrator there. They noted some deficiencies that they had. They had a animal control shelter that needed some help. They had some deficiencies in their police department. They wanted to earmark some money specifically for that. So they used that as basically saying, we're going to put a certain amount of money towards this. And then any money that's in excess of that will then spill into those respective funds, like it would normally. So I think that's a discussion we need to have. We need to have it before January 25th if we want to put something on the ballot in April.
Right.
I think,
I've been kind of studying it. And like I said, I was more concerned with the restrictions.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so,
It is essentially everything that happens at the cash register right now when you buy something is online
Right.
that we're not getting right now.
right.
And I just think a lot of consumers don't recognize that.
Right. The other thing was to go along with what Brian said was I was able to drive by the event Saturday, and it appeared to be a very popular event. I know several people told me they went in and really enjoyed it. So, let's keep that kind of stuff coming, and yeah, I know, but you know what, directly or indirectly, you always have something to do with it. So, and then I think it fuels the fire for things that, maybe we do want to sponsor, when we see these events and where we want to throw our name at them. So, it is good to have that recreation. So other than that, I have nothing, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Cook?
Yes, sir. A few things. Hey, Greg, on the use tax, I would like, just my input, opinion. I would like to dedicate upfront some portions of that to let our voters know that we do have a game plan for it, with maybe the theory or your idea of anything over this will go into other cups, just food for thought.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the best path forward for us, and this is just my thought, and only because of what the voters have told us to date, was we went out on a use tax question and we were told no 2.5 years ago.
Mhm.
And that was on just the general use tax. And granted, okay, maybe we do a better job of educating the consumer. Maybe the consumer understands a little bit better on how this works, and things are different now, especially due to the pandemic. Or we take some of that information that has been fed back to us now with the satisfaction survey, and we say, okay, we're going to set aside $250,000 annually into a capital account specifically for Parks and Recreation. Whatever, pick something.
Right.
Something that's important to the voters, something that's important to the residents.
Mhm.
And we're going to invest that money every year into that thing that's important
Sure.
to the voters. And then whatever comes above that amount. And I think that's where we have to be reasonable, is what is our expectation? What can we reasonably expect to get out of a use tax?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to tie the city's hand for future.
Sure.
But I think if we can just let the voters know we have a plan. So, but yeah, we can talk about that.
I'd like to, if it's okay with everyone, I'd like to put some stuff in front of you,
Mhm.
either at the next meeting or the meeting after. And maybe we can kind of put this one to bed. We do have to give a little more notice when we're putting tax issues on the ballot. That was one of the pieces that came with the new Wayfair legislation, if I'm not mistaken, Brian. We have to give an additional 2 weeks notice prior to a public meeting. Is that correct?
I'll double check. I know there was a change to state law that changed the timelines for when we had to notify the election authority of ballot measures. I believe there is separate legislation, but there may also be something in the Wayfair bill. I'll take a look at that.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if we notice something for an ordinance for you to look at, that we give adequate notice, adequate time ahead of the meeting where you would consider the ordinance to place something on the ballot. So I think at the very least, most of us have been kicking this around. I think I've had one-on-one discussions with a lot of you. It's been as part of the updates and my reports for a couple of months now, that we could probably have at least something for us to look at and consider at our next meeting on the 22nd, if everyone's comfortable with that. I see a lot of nodding heads. Okay, so that's good. Okay.
All right. But I appreciate that.
Sure.
I just want to, and then, hey, Matt, if you'll let Shane know, you were out of town on Friday, and this is a huge thank you. I really appreciate this. At 12:30 on a Friday, I was walking the dog, and a neighbor came out who I've never met, and he had a pothole in front of his driveway. Been there for a while. I texted Shane, or excuse me, I called him, and they filled it that afternoon. And that was pretty neat. I really appreciate that. I really do. So please tell him thank you. It meant a lot to me. It really did. And Barb, I get a lot of compliments on the events and social media we have. Is it possible, without creating more work, could we get an update like once a month on a calendar? Because there's a lot of times I have no idea because there's so much going on. Is there a possibility the council can get a calendar and say, hey, look, this week, this is going on, this is going on. And that way we can kind of pick and choose. what we
Oh,
like to
Barb, you
attend.
start to feed that beast. I didn't used to have to do Friday updates and,
Well, I would just, I did ask Dennis, I swear. And so I checked. Yeah, just put on the Friday updates. But what's your guys' thoughts on that? Like just once a month, just get the calendar for that month, what's going on? Because there's a lot of stuff going on now, a lot. And I really think it's neat. Is it without creating too much work, you swear? All right. Because seriously, I got a lot of compliments on our social media and a lot of activities in town. I really have. So I thank you for that. And thank you for all the workers for that. And one PR note, I was updated on, hope I'm not stealing your thunder, Shop with a Cop. They raised $60,000. They're going to shop for 400 kids. Just to give you an idea where they're at, in 2017, they did 17 kids. And I believe our department took first place. Well, they did a mouse trap or something. I thought that was really neat for their contest.
It's amazing. You give them a vision, a fertile mind to come up. Anybody remember the game Mousetrap?
Oh, yeah.
We made a full-scale replica of Mousetrap for an officer to be in.
It was cool. I went by. It was really neat. It was. So this was nothing but kudos. I thought, we always say our employees are the best attribute of the city, and by far, it's been a very good compliment for the last 2 weeks. That's all I have. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Underwood. Thank you. Councilwoman Templeton. Did I get it right?
You did.
Thank you.
A couple of things. One, I definitely agree with Councilman Cook on transparency with the use tax. I think if you give people information, they feel like they're part of that decision instead of, hey, guess what? We're going to do this. People want to know why. The piece about how much of our business has gone to online sellers and resellers is important. People need to know that. So I think if you, and also where the money's going for, people want examples. So it doesn't mean you can't change the plan. It just means that you have some sort of idea. Probably the best comment I heard from Saturday evening shopping was, it was nice that Festus Main Street is Festus Main Street again. So I moved down here 23 years ago, and Main Street was a different creature than it was up until probably the last 5 years or so. And it's just progressively, gotten better. And people want that. They want to know. And that kind of ties into the use tax. We want people here. We want our money to stay here. And this is why. But I also agree with the other comment about making sure the events that are out there. You're doing a great job. I see them on Instagram. I see them on Facebook. people are talking about them. The younger people are talking about them, which was pretty exciting to hear my 20-year-old say, hey, I think I'm going to go down with my friends. We're going to go onto Main Street. So it's drawing that crowd as well. And whether they work or not, or their parents are paying for it, at least the money is staying local. So great job on, and I know that wasn't your event, but still. It all ties in because people are seeing that it's out there. So that was one question I did have. Can other, like if the city is not hosting something or sponsoring something, is that something that we can still put out on Instagram, social media, anything, just kind of publicizing it?
It's interesting. We had a discussion about this today. So tourism is meeting on the 13th. Actually, they have a tourism commission will be meeting on the 13th. And one of the first requests that they have is from the Jefferson County Tourism Commission, which was just established this last year, if you recall. And so you have the 4 tourism commissions in the county and the county tourism commission. And then you have Barb's events, as we call them. And then you have the events that the folks come in and get sponsorship for, whether it's Four Brothers Mead or whether it's the gals that came in to put together the event this last Saturday. So we need to work on getting all of these pieces connected, because right now the Jefferson County Tourism Commission has a very good but static website, as far as you can go there and you can find out about all the stuff in Festus, places to stay, places to eat, things of that sort. They do have kind of a rolling calendar, and we probably need to make sure that we get our events to them. But the events that are in Festus that are not Festus events, we need to make sure that we connect those as well. So I think if we can do a better job, Stephanie and I talked about this for about 20 minutes, about trying to connect the non-Festus events to the Festus events. And I think in time we'll get that, but we don't have it right now. But I think we can do that. It's just going to take a little time to get there.
Thank you very much, Councilman Venus.
I'd like to thank Matt for getting the weeds and grass cut throughout the city on all the side back roads that needed the attention. It looks really nice coming in and out of the city now. Other than that, that's it, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, I guess it's my turn. First and foremost, from me anyway, on Wednesday, the United States Marine Corps will celebrate its 246th birthday.
Hoorah.
And I'd like to add to the fact that this ladies' night out, my wife went down there. She was just tickled to death at the big crowd that was there, and that they had a good time, and everybody was nice. The shops were good, as my MasterCard bill will tell. But anyway, I would like to congratulate the girls senior high cross-country team, which finished 5th in the state this year. And the boys cross-country team were state champions. This is the 8th year in a row, which sets a record for the state of Missouri, which is great. The only other thing I have, which I usually bring up, if you have not had your vaccination, go get it. This thing is starting to go down, and the more people that get vaccinated and get your second shots and your booster shot, that helps. But please get your vaccinations if you're able. Yes, sir.
I apologize. Can I please say happy Veterans Day coming up to everybody who served on this council in the city? Shame on me for forgetting. It's a holiday I forgot, and I should have mentioned it. I apologize. So for everybody who has served in this room and for the city, a huge thank you from me.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to do we do some sort of like proclamation or something for like the cross-country team?
Yes,
Okay.
We can have that at the next meeting if you like.
yeah, let's work on that and have the boys cross-country team here.
Got that, Carrie? All right.
Is there anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Gotcha.
And there is a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. All those opposed say nay. Hearing none. Motion carries.